And now I want to introduce to you, this is Sophia. Sophia, she's a black lab, only 16 months old, beautiful, unneutered. There ain't gonna be no neutering going on here. She's having puppies once she finds the right macho doggy, okay? And she has a message to them, Humane Society people that think that the world's gonna be saved by neutering all these poor animals. No neutering going on here. Why don't you neuter yourself? There you go. Okay, Sophia's got to run along. We'll be right back. Good girl. Come on, Sophia. Let's go. That's right. That's Sophia's message for the world. And hi everybody. It's so nice to be here. We got to catch up now. We got a lot of talking to do. Well, I got a lot of talking to do because I got one mouth. And you got some listening because you got 2 ears and 2 eyes. Now, let's get back to our story. The beautiful hippie girl with the long dress, without the bra, that read the Bible to me so sweet, such a nice girl. She had the guts and the courage and the love and the personality to stand up for me in my moment of danger when the leaders, shepherds of the children of God, family of International, were about to throw me out like a dog, like Sophia, to the streets for supposedly bringing in marijuana to the commune, which was not mine. I should have been more of a man. I should have said it was mine. Let them kick me out. Maybe I would have been better off. Who knows? But anyway, it was a good time of training there in the Family International Children of God. I learned a lot of stuff. Not everything there was bad, of course. But this poor girl was cast out from the community, shunned forever into outer darkness. Let me tell you, she had balls of steel, this young woman, because by admitting and confessing her sin to save me, she did it to save my ass. Because otherwise, you don't understand the future that was in store for her. In the Children of God Family International, they were very clear, and it was ingrained that people who were shunned, excommunicated, or that deserted, traitors, they called them. If you left the group, you were a traitor, you were a Judas, and the future that waited for you was not very nice. It was a dark future. It was a future of failure. Okay, now we have to admit the group used fear as one of their tools in controlling their sheep and the followers. Now, fear, and Moses David Berg himself stated in one of his famous Mo letters that fear is a very interesting subject, and that the worst fear in life was failing God. Fear of failure, but more than fear of failing yourself or fear of failing others, the worst fear a human being can have is the failing God. And when you failed in the Children of God, Family International, Family of Love, you failed God. You failed God's calling and opportunity that He had given you to be part of the greatest Christian missionary group on earth, which followed the end-time prophet. The great Moses David Berg prophesied in the Bible, because in Ezekiel chapter 34, it talks about a David that would come and be a prince among men to gather the sheep in the end time, in the last days. And according to Moses David and David Berg, he was that David prophesied in the Bible for the last days to save God's children. So if you failed him, you were failing God's prophecy and God's calling. And what awaited you was a life of failure and shame. And even later, when you got to heaven, because heaven, you wouldn't lose your salvation, mind you, but when you got there, you would probably have to hold your head down in shame for having failed God's prophet in God's calling and greatest opportunity on planet Earth. There was not a greater ever since Jesus. So, I mean, that was a heavy burden to bear. And a lot of people that left the group, either by excommunication or by deserters, they call them, backsliders. They took upon a heavy load and a heavy burden of guilt and condemnation. And many of them had to get psychiatric treatment in order to adjust back into society, into the system, sad to say, and try to believe that everything that happened was a lie. So that's the damage. The terrible thing is that most of these people that left the group and tried to remake their lives, that they associated God with the Children of God Family International and Jesus. So a lot of times when they decided to get free from all that stuff that was put in their brain, they also decided to get free from God, and they turned bitterness against God. They blamed God, and they turned away from God and from Jesus, because in their mind it was all wrapped together. And Moses David, the Children of God Family International, God and Jesus. Because many of them came to find God in Jesus within the organization. So it was all linked together. So when they left the group and turned their backs on it and decided to get help and realize, instead of separating the lies from the truth, they believed it was all a big lie. And so they left and became somebody else, hurt, disappointed, and frustrated. It's a sad story about a lot of these people turned out bitterness and hateful. I mean, I don't care where you were or who did what. You cannot live your life with bitterness and with hate and with revenge because then if you think those people stole 2 or 3 years of your life, you're allowing them to steal your whole entire life, where you could grow spiritually and blossom into a beautiful creature and develop a personal relationship with God, free from Christians, free from all Christian organizations, free from church. Want to go to church? Go to church. Go to church because it's in your heart, because you're doing it out of love for God, but not because that church is the only truth, nor does God sign contracts of exclusive rights with any group of human beings. God did not sign away his freedom to you, Family International Children of God, just like he did not sign away his exclusive rights of freedom with any Christian group, and many of them believe it so to be so. Wrong. God is like the wind that blows. The wind blows and we hear the sound, but we can't tell where it's going or where it came from. God is a free entity. He's a free person. He doesn't lock himself in contracts with human beings. That is silly and ridiculous. God is free. You want to be with God? Go to the beach. Go see a sunset. Go see a sunrise. Breathe the air, man. Enjoy life. Enjoy beauty. Look at a beautiful flower. There is God waiting for you. Not in some kind of Christian group which wants to trap you in their interpretation and rules and regulations and fear and condemnation and control. So there you have it. Hey, I'm not saying everything was bad in the Family International Children of God. Like any Christian group, there's good and bad wherever you go. But don't consider them the only truth or that the only way, because the only truth, the only way is God's love. God's love. Love is the only truth and the only way. And freedom! Let's talk about freedom. Huh? Let's talk about being free. Let's talk about being independent in your relationship with God. But this, in the Family International Children of God organization, was a dirty word. The worst insult you could call another Children of God Family International member was, "You're an independent." That was an insult. That was a negative thing. Fun. But anyway, we're going to get back to more of this because this subject is deeper than I thought. But we have no issues with nobody. We're talking in general. There's good and bad wherever you go. And bless that poor hippie girl wherever she is. May she find love and happiness. Thank you. Love you.